So let's say you started a business, cool. There's only so much you can do as a business owner. To scale that business, you're going to need to implement some staff, some resources, and actually pay people to help your business grow. So there's a finite amount of time and money you can earn just as one person. So you could do everything as a business owner. You could be Manny in the field, you could be me doing recruitment, you do your own admin, but you probably couldn't really have a team of more than 7 to 10 guys. Once that team grows, you won't have enough time physically to be able to manage the team in the field, sales, do sales yourself, do all the admin and recruitment for the business. So you have to be able to trade your money for time. You have to grow and scale your staff, your resources, cool. Easy. And then at the end, once you start growing your business and scaling that way, you've got to trade money for money to acquire wealth, right? So you might invest. So the third step is trading money for money. So you might be like someone who's an angel investor, or you want to invest in a couple of businesses, or maybe you're into Bitcoin, or maybe into stocks and shares, or maybe into property. And everyone has different opinions on those. It's probably based on how you're brought up. Some people, like my dad, he's right into property, but he's like really anti-shares and stock markets, so it's so volatile. But some people are like, if you just invest in the S&P 500, it's guaranteed. Like if you look at over history, as long as you leave your money in there, 7 to 10%, you're going to get it back, right? And if you look at property over the last few years, you could argue that's pretty up and down, you know. Or if you look at Bitcoin, like fucking Bitcoin, you're rich every third day and you're broke every third day. So it's like, whoa, you know. So it depends what you're into, but you can invest in different things. Or if you've got a good eye for business, you might be like, you know, might be on Shark's Tank or Dragon's Den or whatever it's called, and invest in companies. Yeah, it depends on what you're into. But that's how you acquire assets outside the business. So that way you could potentially end up having what's called passive income and have investments that pay you without actually being actively involved, right? So people will tell you running a business is passive income. Running a business is not passive income. Running a business is active income. If I didn't run my business wouldn't pay me. I can not run it for a little bit. I can go on holiday, not run it for a week or two and still get paid. But if I did that for a year, eventually my business is not going to succeed.
You learned that from Rich Dad Poor Dad, eh?
100%. Yeah. I steal all my knowledge from books, from proven people, right, that have done it. Otherwise, you know, who am I to preach to you how to do stuff, you know, if it's not from someone who's done it before? So the preach for me initially is all this stuff because I've done it. Yeah. But the next step for me is this stuff. Cool. So I'm at this part now. I want to get to this part. How long will that take me? I don't know. It probably depends on how good I do this stuff. Cool. So it might be 10 years, 20 years, but you know, I'll be happy if I'm 59 and then I'm buying businesses and properties and stuff like that. That's fine. Also learned from my dad. He's pretty successful in business. I'm too proud to. So I changed my career path because I wasn't meant to run his business, and I ended up switching. And he was really good about it. He basically said, "You're a fucking idiot," and then he goes, "But whatever you do, make sure you give it 100% and figure out your own path to succeed." And I didn't know if this was going to be it, but I was like, oh, we'll see what happens, man. We'll go on these for 3 months, 6 months, and then it started to happen. And I was like, all right, well, I may as well just commit and see what happens. So that's what we're into the business side, and now things are starting to grow, things are starting to happen. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. Cool. And the only reason I'm not afraid to think about that is because I just look at the numbers. Like $85 million, 1,000 guys. It's only a fifth of 1%. So nothing. Cool. You want to be a big dog. You know, you think if you're going to imagine your business turns over 85 million a year, you'd be like, I could walk around Auckland and everyone would know who I am. Nah, man, you're small. You're a small player. You're only a 20th of the dude who owns Fonterra. Yeah. So the first thing is to run your own business, developing others, and all you got to think about this business is like if you get good at sales and help others get good at sales, you can go as far as you want. That's all it is. So each time that you train someone how to do what you can do, you're helping them, but you're helping yourself as well, because you can grow your team. Cool. All right, awesome. I wanted to go through some quality metrics as well, just some more practical stuff, and then maybe if we get time, we'll do a couple of topics. And also the earnings template we'll try and knock off sometime this week too. Sweet. What are we going to do first? I reckon we'll recap quality real quick. So you guys know with your sales each week, we've got the metrics we're working towards, as in like certain amount of sales, certain amount of under 30s, over 30s, stuff like that. Cool. How do we sign up more over 30s? See if we can come up with some ideas.
calling them out, like spotting them, going calling them out rather than the younger people.
So starting from the intro. Cool. So if we're at a site and it's hard to tell like sometimes who's over 30, but sometimes during the day there's more younger people or more elderly people. I would try and even focus on elderly people a little bit for the morning, because it's kind of a wasted opportunity if you're not going to do any of them, right? So I would still try and intro and stop elderly people, and just maybe not all of them, but just a little bit, because you want to have a little bit of a, you want to have a little bit of a line in that aspect, because every now and then you'll catch a goodie, like elderly people can donate, and I'd rather sign up someone who's 88 but knows exactly what the cause is, and has thought about the fact that it's $30 a month, than sign up someone who's like 24, who's like, yeah, fuck it, I'll give it a go, but then they never end up making a donation. So elderly people are all good. So I would say just like first, stopping older people. No youngies, we can call them youngies. What's the problem is that, how old are you?
I'm 20.
Cool.
23 now.
23. When was the birthday? Just a week ago?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday.
So
Oh,
2
yeah,
days
that's
ago,
why you came back
yeah.
from really early. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Congrats, mate. There it is. So the problem is sometimes the average age is quite young. So we're trying to stop people older than us to sign them up. But we're all people, right? Think about my age. I'm like the target audience, 39. So 39 to 40, 50. People that look around my age is the ones you want to target. So you want to just put more effort into those stocks and be a little half-hearted on the younger stocks. Do you know what I mean? So if you see someone who looks like they're my age, you want to be like, been going hard. Oh, hey mate, there he is. Like, how are you? Hey, before you shoot off, I'm in a bit of a rush. Mate, I'll grab you real quick anyway. I'll be 5 seconds. Grab him over. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's like an elderly person, you're like, morning, do I stop over for a quick chat? And they're like, no thanks. I'm in a bit of a rush. I'm like, no worries. Or it's someone who's younger, like you're gonna be like, hey man, hey bro, what's up? Oh, not much bro, just chilling. We're just doing a quick one. Oh, nah, not really keen, no worries. I'm not gonna try and pressure them, just kind of let them go a bit easier. So just the effort into the older ones, cool. We'll put 30 to 60 is probably our target. Yeah, maybe even 40 to 70. Cool. What else? How else can we?
Genuine compliment.
Once we've stopped them, how can we find out what age they are? Cool. Sometimes we waste our time and effort into pitching someone and they're not the right quality. You've done it? Yeah, you gotta like it. Put your hands up if that's happened to you before. Yeah, it happens all the time. But you've got to really get used to the fact that if you don't qualify at the start, it's your own fucking fault.
I closed a 15-year-old in Northcote.
15? Must have been a big dude.
Patella was making fun of me so hard.
It happens to the best of us, right? And the problem is, if the person stops and they're real keen, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is too good to be true. They're probably young. Like they're too into it. It's too easy. They're like, I'll have it. Like 18, 20, 22, 21. So you got to qualify by finding out how old they are, work, all that kind of stuff. And if they're younger, they just have to have a job, like a full-time job. If you're going to sign up a 23-year-old or a 26-year-old, as long as they're working, that can be one of your occasional under ones, right? But if they don't have a job and they're younger, just go like this. Hang on one sec. Hey man, it might be easier if you just donate on the website when you go home, because that way you can just chuck in a one-off, like $5, $10, $20, rather than signing up. Is that all good? And they'll always go, yeah, I'll just do that. Cool? You're almost trying to sell them out of it on purpose. What were you going to ask?
What if they're married and their partner has a job, but they're like 23?
Bad.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
Why is it bad? Whose name are you signing up in?
You're signing up under their name, yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the reason for that is if you're married and your partner has a job, who would usually make more of the financial decision?
The other one.
person that has the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they make money generally. So they often will tell you, oh, my partner, usually I have to talk to my partner first. You guys had those ones? It's not the best. But yeah, again, if they're older, 35, and they say that, then I'm okay with it, because they've probably been with their partner longer as well. Yeah, but if they're 23 and they're saying my partner, my mum, it's more volatile. So you just want to think that there can't be too many red flags. So red flag is not working and under the age. If they're older, not working, it's alright. If they're younger and working, it's alright. If they're younger and not working, not alright. If they're older and working, fucking let's go. So just think about that. You know, you can even do like a little bloody matrix or whatever and go like this, like, you know what I mean? Under 30, work. Under 30. Yes. No. Work. Yes. No. So we talk to myself. Am I under 30?
No.
Okay. I should put over 30, shouldn't I? It'd be easier. So I'm over 30 and I'm working. So I get 2 ticks, okay? If you spoke to my theoretical wife who wasn't working, would she be over 30? Yes. Would she have a job at that time? No. If I spoke to a 22-year-old studying, not having no job, no. Still put. Cool. And if they were 28, had a good job, cool. So you can settle this one, and you can settle these two, but not as often. And you can't settle these guys. So when you think about your 12 sales, you can only do like 3 of them from these categories, and the other 9. So this is 75% of your sales right here, right? When we're targeting. The problem is, guys, it is hard to access that person, so you really have to work the KPIs. That's what KPIs are important. You only need to find 3 a day. And I know sometimes you're like, oh, 3, it's quite hard to do 3 sales in a day. I'm like, yeah, but if you have the right sample size, you'll find them. So if you put the effort into the intro, you make sure you're always getting 30 stops, then you get your 20 creative squad closes, you'll find the right ones. But you get better at filtering. And some sites are different age groups, different demographics, all that kind of stuff. But as long as you filter the right amount of people, you'll get it. Sweet. So qualify. How do we approach that? You just stop someone. Hey bro, how's it going? What are you up to today? Got day off work, or that's why I used to always say I end my question with or. Got day off work, or trying to leave it with them. You know, they can prompt in them. I'm like, oh no, I'm working today actually. I'm like, oh nice. What do you do for work? Cool, pretty easy. Find out if they got a job, and to be honest, I think job's the most important one out of all of them. Even I'd rather someone who's 28 that has a job than someone who's 32 that doesn't have a job, right? Just a better tip for me, like someone who has a full-time job. So try and find that out, and then you can go into the presentation, close, all that stuff after that. But otherwise, you're just going to you'll get frustrated, and it'll fuck up your numbers, because you shouldn't have closed the person that's too young and doesn't work, right? But if you do close them, it's one close that shouldn't even be a close. So you're like, hey Mark, I've got 8 closes and I haven't got a sale, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, if I was next to you, I'd be like, but yeah, you fucking closed 6 people that you shouldn't have, so you've only really got 2 good closes, right? Sweet. So that's something I can't see, you know? Pretend you've got a little Mark parrot on your shoulder, watching you all day. The parrot could see it, but I can't see it. So when you're looking at your numbers, I can only see what you put down. Just make sure you've got good closes in there. And if the person's not that quality, then maybe you don't need to put them down. Cool? Same with the stops, you might get someone who's like half. So, oh, what are you doing? Oh, no thanks. I wouldn't count that as a stop. I just only stop so that people stop for a chat. Cool? So you could even like get those half stops over by saying, oh, hey, sorry mate, I can tell you're in a rush. I appreciate your time. It'll be nice and quick for you. Have you guys ever worked with Manny? He always says, I appreciate your time. Yeah, I appreciate your time. It's just like kind of assuming they're going to stop, but also making them feel valued, and it's pretty easy to get them to stop. You know, I appreciate your time, I'll keep it quick. Okay, sweet word. Qualifying, okay. You'll get frustrated, your attitude will decline if you Been there? Yeah, you get fucking pissed. You get negged out if you close someone and they're like, oh, I don't actually have a job. I can't really afford it. You get through the iPad, you're like starting on the iPad and they're like super keen. They're like, oh, do I have to give you money? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, oh shit, I'm not working at the moment. I'm like, oh, I didn't even ask. My fault, right? My fault.
Yeah.
So don't blame the customer. And if you're having trouble with the attitude, make sure you focus on that. Cool. So we know the metrics, how many we can get from each. That's 1 in 10. If you guys want to write this down, 1 in 10, you guys should know this, under 25-year-olds. So you got this here, 12 sales or 10 sales in a week, right? Three and 12 under 30s. Cool. That means 9 and 12. Oh, 9 and 9. That'd be good. Over 30-year-old. Cool. 9 and 12 over 30s. So you got 3 spare. But if you only do 10 sales, it's a bit trickier. Because you can't really have 30. Well, you can have 3. But it's not really 25%. You can't get 25% out of 10 because it's 2.5 customers. So you might be like 5% better or 5% worse.
Or a short one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not one tool. You put me in that position, bro. Does that make sense? So out of these 3, one of them could be under 25, but we can't do 3 plus 1 as well because that's 4 out of 12, and that's like too high. Cool. 4 out of 12 is a third, so it's 30%. Now, why is that so important? Is because the reject percent is 25%. And if you start doing too many, then we have to increase it and put more in your bond to allow for extra rejects. Otherwise, it won't be enough. Your bond you won't put enough in your bond to cover that 25%. Does that make sense? You guys know how the bond works? Because you'll be getting more than 25% rejects and fails. So that means that then we'll be like, well, you got to pay that back somehow. I'm going to take it out of your weekly pay, but I don't want to do that. So you got to make sure your quality is better. Cool. If your quality is really good, you don't even have to bond 25%, and we can look at that after 3 months. We can go like, where's your quality at? The quality is really nice. It's like around 20%. So if you guys ever get a chance to link up with Nick's team, he's half a sale. He's quite short. There you go. You won't mind me saying that. He's got a bunch of girls. He's got a few guys on his team. He's got Rory. You've got Brooke and Lana. You guys probably meet some of those guys, but their quality is all around the 19, 20, 21%. That's the best office in the country with quality. And I'm what's called the charities product owner, so I look after all the businesses in New Zealand that work with charities and give them advice on their company's overall quality. And Nick's got the best. So yeah, if you want to work on quality, that's one thing. But we can even bond you less if your quality was better than that. So if you're like, you know what, Mark, that sounds great, but or even Lou, you guys know Lou. Lou hasn't signed up an under 30-year-old this year. It's April. Crazy, right? And maybe you could argue that he might have, if he lowered his standard a little bit, he might do a slightly more higher sales volume, but he's okay with that. He's like, I just don't want to get rejects, so I'm focusing on quality this year. So he's got a point to prove. So you can maybe ask him how he focuses on that. And then if you're like, if I can still half as good as that, my quality is going to be even better than this, right? So he's like, screw the 3 and 12 under 30s, I'm just going to do 0 and 12. So I'm all up oldies, yeah? And he's really good with elderly people. Yeah, he doesn't only sign up oldies, but he doesn't get any under 30s. Cool. So you might want to even ask him, like, how do you stop the right amount of people to get over 30s, or anyways, there's heaps, but that's the quality thing there. Cool. Okay. I think that's probably enough now. We're going to have a morning meeting, so if you guys want to maybe jump out into the main room for a bit, and we might get time for another talk after the morning meeting before the field. We'll see how we go.